Hello, my babies. We are back from Tallinn, Estonia, the Patrick Antonius Poker Challenge, brought to you by First Land of Poker, the new social poker app. Get it, download it, be my friend. I'll explain more about that later. For now, I'm going to explain what you are looking at right now for your eye and ear holes. Some 100, 100, 200 pot limit Omaha with these horrible, horrible, degenerate Omaha players. Patrick came to play.
Now the empty count, right? Yeah.
Top pair for Parsonen. Second pair for Antonius. Didn't even think about it. 9 on the turn. Is Patrick a gut shot? Double gutted? Double gutted.
Certainly a card Patrick should be betting here. He does. And I can't imagine how Parsonen could continue here. Look at this. He calls. This is a crazy call.
He has the best hand. And Patrick does get there.
I mean, that's a very, very ambitious call on the turn by Parsonen. Patrick hits the nuts on the river.
Patrick announces all in. Trying to rep busted hearts. Trying to get a call from here from exactly the kind of hand that Parsonen has. Top two or a set.
So Parsonen's thinking,
oh, that's a call.
Oh my gosh, he makes the call.
Yeah,
Gets the bad news.
Such a huge pot, it froze our stream for a second. Easy to say that when you river the nuts. Jack 9-6, 2 hearts. Jacks and 9s for Parsonen. Somehow a set of 6s for Runinen.
No, I think Runinen folded. This graphic has to be wrong.
Okay. And another really strong draw for Patrick.
Don't broke me, don't broke me.
Will he get there a second time? Lots of ways for it to happen. And the 7 was one of them. Patrick says pot.
Wow, Patrick hits the nuts and just leads out into his opponent. His opponent, Parsonen, only has a little over a pot bet left. Look at that. They're ordering shots already.
Here we go.
Oh my god, put whiskey in it. Don't say no.
I don't really want to take these.
And whiskey. You heard him?
5,700.
Wow, Parsonen makes the call.
And Runinen orders tea. We're both focused on what's important to us.
I'll take sparkling water.
Parsonen does not re-get there.
Get a one draw. That's from Finland. They drink every day anyway.
2 pair again. Will he call it off a second time?
Okay, so our graphic must have been wrong. Stacks were actually deeper. I haven't ever played with Parsonen, but just from watching a couple hands, he seems like a sticky player.
Calls
he
again.
Makes a call. Patrick Antonius is punishing Parsonen.
Oh my goodness. And Patrick is 1/5 of the way to paying for Kane's salary today. What a stack. Is that 2 hands in a row?
It's 2 in a row. Back to back.
Back to back. Double up and near double up for Patrick Antonius. So brief but meaningful.
There's Parsonen with a real hand.
Mizrachi wants some of that Parsonen cash.
Mizrachi saying, "Hey, all I need to do is make the nuts and pot. I can do that." Not on this flop though. Flops top pair. Both players feeling pretty good about that board.
Mizrachi with 2 pair now.
Cards a 10. Parsonen not feeling great about that.
But he's betting it anyway.
He's continuing to fire. He's using his aces, perhaps his ace-king blockers, plus a mix of, you know, even when his opponent has 2 pair, he's only a 2-to-1 dog. The question is, will he bluff the river?
Well, he is going to bluff river. 5,500.
He's using his aces as blockers here to bluff. I prefer this play with using kings as blockers, because then you block 2 different straights. Mizrachi does let it go. That fold makes sense to me. He only has an 8 in his hand to block a straight.
Parson shows.
I can decide which shot. Yeah, maybe then you can decide which shot. What do you like?
Parsonen playing pretty near 100% VPIP so far at this table.
Oh, yeah, he sure is. I didn't even notice that. And he is betting here with absolutely nothing. Ace of Hearts blocker, I guess.
Right, he does have the ace, and Parsonen is absolutely going to fire the turn and river here. There is no doubt in my mind that that's what's going to happen.
And Mizrachi has a straight.
Just based on what we've seen from Parsonen. And even though Mizrachi has a straight here, it's really not a good spot. In fact, if I'm Mizrachi, I'm check folding this spot. The reason why is because when your opponent has what they're repping, you're drawing dead. And there are better hands to bluff catch if you think that... So Mizrachi does call. I think this is a mistake. And if I'm Mizrachi here, when I'm choosing to bluff catch, I'm going to call with, of course, all flushes, because I'm also blocking my opponent's ability to have flushes. And I'm going to call with sets, which actually have equity against a made flush.
Sure.
I'm going to choose to fold my straights on the turn here. And here's Parsonen firing pot. Will Mizrachi get bluffed 2 hands in a row?
I mean, he got shown the bluff on the last hand, right?
The other problem with Mizrachi's call on the turn is he doesn't have a heart in his hand, as he just, you know, double-checked. He's not blocking the flush. Mizrachi, visibly unhappy, makes the call. What an unbelievable call by Robert Mizrachi.
Parsonen's going to lose another big pot. This one worth just over 18,000.
Great call by Mizrachi. He didn't have any blockers. He continued on the turn with a hand that I would have been inclined to fold. Correctly sniffs it out and calls the river. Just really, really good poker there by Mizrachi.
Really, the second one?
I think this is Patrick's second. Is Runanen partaking today?
At first he said no. I haven't seen him do one.
Okay.
Where's the umbrella for that shot?
Patrick with the 3-bet here. 10 Jack, Jack, Queen. You know, hands that have a pair, even if it's a pair of 8s, pair of 9s, and then 2 connected cards. So, for example, 8, 9, 9, 10, 7, 8, 8, 9. These type of hands are stronger hands in PLO than people give them credit for.
Oh, Mizrachi.
Mizrachi makes a call, and look at this. Biraju repotted. And he's representing pocket aces here.
Yeah, I mean, he's been relatively quiet today, so he should have some credit, although Patrick has definitely proven to us that he is here to play.
Yeah, Patrick has been sticky today. And Mizrachi makes a call as well. So a huge three-way pot here.
Jack 10, 7, 2 spades. No one's got a spade draw. Set of jacks for Patrick.
And the player images next to their name says it all about this flop here. Patrick looking very happy.
Patrick putting a big stack of chips out there. I think if you're Mizrachi, you got to let this go.
I don't know. It's a close spot because if Patrick is doing this with a hand like Jack 10, you have the right price.
But is he doing it with a hand like Jack 10 very often? Is he doing it with 8, 9 more often? Is he doing it with sets more often?
He's doing it with all two pairs because it was about a 1-to-1 pot to stack ratio against the deepest player, who was Raul.
So it looks like the original raiser was Patrick. Mizrachi called. Viraju called. Runanen, pocket aces and deuces. 3 bets from the under the gun straddle position. Patrick is putting chips in. Oh. What happened now? Yeah, 3 bet to 4,100. Patrick calls. Mizrachi's out. I don't expect Raul is going to fold very often. Just based on what I know of him, and he in fact does call. 9-4-4. Aces are still the best hand right now. And Runanen's all in for his last 2.6. There's a lot of money out there.
I don't think Patrick has a gut shot.
No. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's got a gut shot to like an 8-card straight.
You've been struggling with your gut shots.
Raul folds.
I don't know what Patrick got.
See, he has a straight
He
coming.
has a straight coming. All right, runner.
Patrick has a straight already. Thank you, Samelison. Patrick drawing dead on the turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, that's crazy. What a stupid game. I wouldn't exactly trust the graphics right now.
Well, I think it's correct that Yokomainen called for 300 more. He was in the small blind. Or one of the small blinds.
Flop top pair and bottom pair.
He's at 1K. He gets a very loose call.
And now he's
by
got
Barraju.
a set. I'm going to play these 2 cards now. I know I was playing these 2 cards before. Now I'm going to switch to these 2. Is that okay?
And Barraju deeper than advertised here.
What are the blue
Barraju makes the call with 5s and jacks here.
Now he's got 9s and jacks.
He improves to 9s and jacks, but it does bring the 3rd diamond. That's why Yokomainen checks. And Barraju value betting it here. Or perhaps bluffing at it.
Are all the plaques
Wow.
worth the same?
So hold on.
Yokomainen folded.
Barraju turned his hand into a bluff with 2 pair there for less than half pot. Yokomainen quickly folded.
All right, so we've got some big pocket pairs. Kings double suited for Parsonen. Queens double suited for Mizrachi.
Yeah, no way Mizrachi's folding here. With Parsonen's frequencies. And so far we've seen Parsonen 3-bet every time he's had pocket kings. Now, these are strong kings of the double suited variety, but we've also seen him, I believe, 3-bet kings with no suit. Look at that flop.
Yeah.
Action flop. Parsonen up and down flush draw. Mizrachi top set flush draw.
Worst flush draw.
And look at this. Again, it's 50-50. The great game of pot limit Omaha, Joe.
So gross. Your flush draw is no good, Bobby.
All right, you know what? Even though it's 50-50 this time, I actually like Michael's hand. Or I'm sorry, Robert's hand.
Rob's
Yeah.
hand. They're going to run it twice. 9 on the turn is a straight for Parsonen. Gets there for the 3rd run out in a row. Queens is going to lock that one up for Rob. They're going to chop it up. Is now getting 3-bet by Patrick. And you can see why. Blind on blind. Ace, king, pocket queens.
Yeah, it's actually a 2-bet here by Patrick as Runen
It's a limp.
limped.
Mizrachi getting a little loosey-goosey from the straddle.
We're going 3 ways to the flop.
Queen 9-5. So pair of 9s running in, top set for Patrick. And a gut shot for Rob Mizrachi.
Absolutely right. $3.5K from Patrick. And a really dicey hand here for Runen. And bottom 2 pair, no real draws except for the backdoor variety. He does call, though. Turn is a 6, so he picks up a gut shot. And with stack sizes, he's going to donk lead all in.
Patrick calls.
Patrick will call. Runen gets the bad news that he's drawing to just an 8 to win this pot.
Patrick gets the good news that he is not up against the straight already.
He probably has a lower set on the gut shot. Show it. No, he doesn't have. He probably has he's probably got like 5, 6, 7. This one's got 5, 7, 9.
Sampo needs an 8 on the river. Misses the first one. He misses the second one. Patrick Antonius continuing to crush this cash game.
As we are picking up the action here, pocket queens for Runen, and Patrick called the middle with jacks, suited aces, well, 1 suited ace, and pocket aces for Yoni.
This is a very weird call out of the small blind by Robert Mizrachi here. You might want to make this call with some double-suited rundown type hands, but
no flush draw.
When you have a pair in your hand and you're facing a 3-bet, your opponent just has aces a lot of the time. So 9-9-8-7, while it is generally a strong hand with no suits here, it's definitely on the loose side.
10-10-8 is your flop. 3 10s for Patrick. 7, 8, 9, 10 for Rob Mizrachi.
Moving all in for pots. Patrick Antonius making sure that he does have that 10. He moves all in, and Yolkamainen will be able to get away here easily.
Reluctantly folds. Running it twice.
Oh my God.
Oh, Yoni. Would have turned to full. Would have turned quads. Well, he could only win one of the runouts, then I guess. Rob bricks the first one and the second one. He does make the straight on the second one, no?
But Patrick has a full house on the river.
One of those outs.
And that's what you get for flatting a 3-bet in the small blind with 9-9-8-7.
You should come. I'm going to Israel. I promise you very good time. I want to go to Thailand. Yeah, I want to go everywhere this summer. Yeah. I promise everyone good time. After the summer, yeah? Well, just like here. But better. Yeah? I think Finland is a better option. There we can't lose money.
2 pair for Sampo.
Yeah. Should do a tournament in Finland. Are you allowed?
But it's Parsonen who's leading out, calling a shove here. He has an inside wrap. Sampo with a pretty big lead, though. 69% equity here with his 2-pair and gut shot. They're running it once.
Oh my God, how does he read it?
Ace of clubs on the turn. And the river's a king, so Runanen wins one. It's nodding in approval.
We were talking in Finnish, but we just said like how Tallinn is like.
Here,
In our opinion,
I got it here.
India, huge poker market right now. Obviously, more than 1 billion people in India.
You have good sushi there? Who eats sushi there?
You know, Rob, there are other types of food besides sushi, especially in India.
I thought we're being friendly.
Sampo 3-betting.
Yeah, things have not been going Sampo's way this session. Once he was down a little bit, he started only running it once. And the cards have largely not been in his favor.
I know you would never expect this coming from me, given that I'm kind of a life nit. I only run it once.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It is what it is. We got it all in. Now, I don't play Omaha, right? Omaha, maybe I would play it a little differently. Also, if I was playing, I do believe you got to be good for the game.
Right.
You got to be a team player. You got to just, if you're playing in a fun game, you got to do what other people want to do. But in general, if I play like in home games, bigger cash games, I just run it one time. I just want it to be, it is what it is.
Now, a lot of professionals choose to only run it one time because they want to have increased fold equity when they bet. So if your opponents know you only run it once.
Right, they're not always going to call it off.
And now a lot of amateurs only run it one time because their only chance to win is to increase variance.
Yeah, see, that's more what my...
That's more you.
That's more me. But also, I'm almost never getting it in as a dog.
Right. You're almost always ahead.
Yeah. But if it's ace-king against queens, I'm like, let's just run it once. Whatever happens, happens.
Sure.
Because the only thing more tilting to me than running it once and losing is running it twice and losing.
Sure. Bad news for Sampo.
Ace on the road does not help him.
Arsenin wins that one, and things continuing to go badly for Sampo Runanen. And I don't know, I mentioned earlier, Joe, I'm not sure if I'm normally not a superstitious guy, but the only player at the table not taking shots.
He definitely ran better when he was wasted the other night, so maybe it is. Maybe he needs to get back on the old booze pony. Or dicey, and I have not gotten that feeling.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Albany, New York, which I know is not a huge city, but I did grow up in the innerest part of the inner city of Albany.
Mizrachi with a rare limp call here. Biraju had potted it pre-flop. This would be a good hand if it were suited at all. Biraju with the Badugi, ace, king, queen, 3. It's a little bit of a loose raise here, but it's Parsonen, the one who's betting out here. He does have a gut shot top pair and an overpair with the 10s. And we got Mizrachi raising it up. Top 2 pair. Not what Parsonen likes to see. Little does he know that against Mizrachi's hand, he actually has pretty good equity. It's a tough spot for Parsonen.
Does this situation come up regularly in Omaha where you have 2 pair and an overpair?
Not that frequently, no.
Is it generally a good spot?
Generally, having top 2 pair on a board where there's no straight or flush possible is a good spot. But Parsonen's spot here is really tough. I mean, if his opponent has a set, his equity is pretty bad.
I'm worried about that.
The thing is, how many pocket 8s or pocket 6s is Robert limp calling pre-flop? Parsonen does get away from it.
Well, he's mostly worried about sort of what he's up against, not the 2-pair and the flop, but overpairs, right? He's probably worried about kings and queens.
Yeah, Robert, I wouldn't expect Robert to really check pot kings or queens there. A good hand for Parsonen, and since the very beginning of this session, we've seen Parsonen not really play as many speculative hands as he was early on. We also see him not playing as loose post-flop. You think that was a little bit of advertisement about the way he was going to be playing for the rest of the session?
I know it's way more interesting if I say yes. I don't think so, though. I don't think anybody's really doing that.
Well, to some degree, you got to do it in these games if you want
What
to.
a flop, by the way, right here for ace king with 8-4 of hearts.
Oh,
Holy.
yeah. But Patrick with top 2. But in games like this, you're not going to get invited to continue to play next time or the next day if you don't have.
You got to
a little
give
bit of a
action
loose
to
image.
get it. I totally agree with that. I'm just not sure that anyone dusts off 2 buy-ins to start off a session for advertisement. Like, it's just nobody's that good to like lose 2 buy-ins and just know they're gonna win back like 4 or 5 later on. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
some people might think they're that good, so maybe, but I think in general, nah.
His favorite move is check raise all in. Every time timing, I have top 2.
Here we go. Here we go.
Here they go, all in. Patrick Antonius with a slight advantage, but it's pretty close, 43 to 57%.
You have a better hand, right?
I like Parsonen's hand this time.
They are running it twice. I like Parsonen's hand as well.
Parsonen
Aces
takes
and eights, right?
lead on the turn.
Be real
Patrick
tough
with still a lot of equity, though.
And 3-pair, no good for Patrick. So the first run out goes to Parsonen.
Second run out. Also goes to Parsonen.
Another straight flush for him.
Flush.
That's 2 straight flushes for Parsonen, right?
That is.
Royalties.
That is a huge pot here for Parsonen, who started off deep in the hole, is now putting a kink in the armor of Patrick Antonius.
See if I can push it all 4 everything.
So raise to 1.6. That's got to be, what, a 3-bet? Or people limped in ahead of him?
No, we're straddling to 400, so
So it just went limp.
it's just straight raise, an open raise, 1124. So a pot raise is 1600.
Right, just the way the graphics were, it looked like the under the gun was the original raiser. So for that to have happened, people must have limped in front of him, right? Oh, there's 2 straddles.
Yeah, the blinds are 1124 right now.
Okay.
Jokiminen. That is certainly the flop he was looking for. Patrick raising it up here. He has bottom pair and pocket 3s. Now, when you bluff raise this type of board, you do want to have a pair in your hand, at least one.
Why is that?
Because you have full house outs going to the turn. So a good candidate to bluff raise this flop, especially if players were deeper, is when this play becomes effective. Is a hand like 9-9 Jack Jack hands like that are always fun hands to mix into your bluff raise range here, especially when it goes bet call. Otherwise, you might be able to just call hands like that profitably. But I don't think that players are quite deep enough here
for this to work.
Patrick he's got a hand that he really doesn't want to fold because he has bottom pair. He has which blocks some, full houses.
Wow.
He's got the threes, he's got the flush draw, but Jokamainen moves all in, and
Patrick has to fold now, right?
Yeah, Patrick's gonna have to let it go.
Such an annoying spot to have to fold. Put so much money in the middle.
Robert, don't rub it in. It's not rubbing it in.
Runin in with a playable hand here. 4, 5, 7, 8 double suited.
We'll see you in 10 minutes. We'll save your seat.
If you weren't around earlier for the stream when I pointed out these single gap type hands in pot limit Omaha, it's better the closer the gap is towards the bottom of the hand. So if this hand were 4, 6, 7, 8, for example, it would be a stronger hand. And the weakest iteration would be 4, 5, 6, 8. Nonetheless, 4, 5, 7, 8 double suited, still a playable hand. Jokamainen with aces again, and these two players are going heads up. 6, 7, 8. That is the flop that Reinanen was looking for, and with a gut shot and top pair, we don't see Jokamainen stick it in here. We see Jokamainen go for the check call.
But that is the majority of his stack is in the middle now.
Oh yeah, they are all in on the flop. Jokamainen's going to need some help.
Oh boy.
Ace on the turn, more outs.
No runner.
So you want to put on a second board to be fair? I like these chances.
Sampo, breathe. Jack on the turn. 6 on the river. Sampo wins both.
No, you're good. Sampo wins.
9 point.
Not time, man.
It's actually fine to lose to Sampo.
Like, Sampo has to do a shot because he never wins the pot. Here, Sampo, you gotta do a shot.
I gotta do it.
PLO Empty is asking me about the game of PLO and whether or not it has a good future. I'm assuming because you name yourself PLO Empty, you like the game of PLO. No, I'm out there for some tennis training. I'm actually training with
oh, that's right. You've got a bet,
tennis coach out there. I got a couple of big tennis bets taking place in May.
Who are they against? What can you tell us about your tennis prop bets?
I can tell you one of them is against Josh Tiemann, who is was a very profitable online Pot Limit Omaha heads-up player. Full Tilt fame. His online name was Little Bastard. And the other one is against Clayton Jang, who just recently started playing poker a couple of years ago. And it's been a year-long bet with both of them. I made the bet last May, and we've basically
Who was the dog to start off with?
Year to train. So between me and Josh, we were pretty close, but I was slightly better than Josh. Between me and Clayton, Clayton had never played tennis in his life.
Oh, so Clayton made one of these bets where he's like, I guarantee with a year of training, I could be better than you.
Exactly. And so far,
Love those guys.
So far, it looks like he's going to be proven right. Clayton has an edge on me right now in tennis. Josh, I think I got a better chance against. So, who knows? Maybe I'll break even on the deal. And I've gotten better at tennis in the meantime, so it's been fun.
This pot, pretty interesting for Patrick. He's just raised the bet from Mizrachi here on the turn, and Patrick has got to be loving this. He's got 3 pair. He's got top 2. He's got the nut flush draw. Really, really hard to find a river you don't like here. And Mizrachi lays down top pair and an open ender.
Yeah, Mizrachi
Good
astutely
fold.
letting that go.
Good fold, good fold. The sites just want people playing on the site.
Right. Sure.
People / whoever.
Right.
Pots being played, we'll call it.
Sites are trying to generate rake. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's certainly not the end of the world
If you
yet.
want to put your bot against someone else's bot and just generate thousands of hands of rake, some sites are going to be perfectly okay with that.
Sure.
They don't care.
Nobody's going to watch that from home, though.
No, of course not. Of course not. I said when I started in poker, probably 10, 11 years ago at this point. Wait, more. Almost 15 years ago. I was like, Hold'em's not the game. Hold'em is going to be figured out. It's going to be beaten. We haven't figured out what the next game is going to be yet. What the real next poker game is going to be. And everything that happens with bots and solvers leads me again to that conclusion that it might not be Hold'em. Short deck, I think, is obviously a thing for the moment. I'm not sure how long of a thing it will be, but
yeah, short deck should be easier to solve than no
Right.
limit Hold'em in theory, because there are just fewer combinatorics.
maybe it's long deck. Maybe that's the new game, where instead of being 1 through 12 or 2 through 13, maybe it's 2 through 17.
A larger deck.
Yeah, maybe it's long deck. Maybe there's an 11, 12, 13, 14, and then Jack, Queen, King, Ace. Let's
Well,
think about that.
While we think about that, we got Robert Mizrachi putting Sampo all in here on a stone bluff.
Busted flush draw.
Busted flush draw. He bet pretty small on the turn.
Gets it through.
Wow, look at that.
Through the bluff.
Can't even show it. He doesn't drink anyways. Drink if I show a bluff? No, I can't. I don't have a bluff.
That was a bluff.
Robert did that once before when he had the nuts, and he said it was a bluff, so...
You're getting there, though. You're going to get to peak drunk right as the stream is ending, which is perfect timing. We don't want everyone to peak drunk 1 hour into the stream because there's nowhere to go from there.
Right.
I was like, I think you guys are on a good pace, and I stand by that statement. I think we got about 1 hour left in the stream, and I think by the time we get through that hour, given the shots that are around the table right now, it'll be exactly where things need to be called a night for the night. 2 players to this flop, 9, 8, 7. Both players hit a 9. Queens are still good for Yuki Minen. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Is that a straight?
That
That
is a straight.
So queens are not good. Still working on this Omaha thing, guys. And Bairagio has moved all in.
Putting Yokomainen all in. Yokomainen deciding whether he has enough equity to call here.
I mean, it's so easy to be up against a straight here, right?
Yeah.
So let me see if I can do this right? Jack 10's a straight.
Jack, 6, 8.
5, 6 is straight, obviously. But then 6, 10 is a straight. Like, there's a bunch of straights out there, right? Because
You
there's
named
also.
them.
That's it?
That's it. How many total combos is that?
How many combos is one thing? Jack 10. 4 combos of that or more?
There are more than 4 combos. at Jack
16?
10. You got it.
So it's 32 combos of straights out there right now.
48.
48.
Wow, he makes the call.
Wait, there's 16 Jack 10s and 16
5
6
sixes.
tens.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and 5 6. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Right.
Right,
He does
so this
not
is-
block any of them.
6 on the turn. Berju is going to take it down. He gets the check mark. So this is a quick. Oh, they're actually running it twice. So let's see. Jack, he picks up some outs. A 10. Nope. So this will be a quick demonstration on the importance of blockers. So Yokomainen's hand
Right, because you eliminate a bunch of those combinations.
had no blockers to a straight. Let's say
Like
that
if he's a 10, he
Let's say-
eliminates
let's
the jack,
say
a lot of the jack 10 combinations.
right. Let's say Yokomainen's hand was queen, queen, 6, 6. Now all of a sudden, instead of there being 48 combinations of straights, right,
There's a quarter less. No, because the 6 is involved in 2 of them, so there's half as many.
32. Exactly.
So the whole thing was a result of like massive negligence by him.
I certainly
It's like
didn't
the
know
big
that.
divergence from the truth in that story. And then there was like a couple other things that he did along the course of the way that made it way worse. Now the ending of the story and the way it all went down at the end, that's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Are jacks still the best hand here? Yes, they are. Any 2 cards saying Michael Clayton is a great movie. It is a great movie. I don't know if you're writing that randomly, but Brian Koppelman, writer of the movie Rounders, creator of the show Billions, has been tweeting about Michael Clayton lately because there's a poker scene in it, and Koppelman is in the poker scene.
Ah.
So I'm not sure if that's why that's on your mind, any 2 cards, but yes, it is a great movie. It is. I think it's a perfect movie, to be honest. All right, so Runinen drawn real thin now.
He does, though, have a gut shot, and I think a barrel here on the turn will win him the pot. Small bet here of 3K. Arsenin has not let his hand go yet, so maybe I spoke too soon.
These are the spots you got to win, right?
There he goes. He lets it go. Sampo takes one away from him.
Well, if you bluff him, he's taking a shot.
I mean, in so many of these spots, the equities are 50-50. If you can steal a couple where your equity is 496, that's got to be a huge difference between being a winning and a losing player in this game.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like if you get stacked by, you know, what were some names back then? Fold for food or I flop flush or whatever, you know, all those names kind of go together. You know if you got stacked by NASCAR. So if you were an amateur and you played me, you probably remembered. And next time you're online, you know, you probably want to come back and try to win your money back. So yeah, I was happy to go with that name. But I played Isaac Haxton. With it, you know, bought in for 10,000 at 50-100 with maybe a $40,000 or $50,000 bankroll. And he
So you bought it for 10,000?
10,000.
50-100.
One of the
for like
first
a
hands.
quarter of your bankroll.
Right. One of the first hands, I raise ace queen on the button. He 3-bets. We call. The flop comes 3.
Are your heart racing, pounding, or you're like just too young to even give a shit?
Oh yeah, it was racing and pounding.
Okay.
The pot comes 3, 9, 10, rainbow.
Horrible. Horrible.
Isaac Haxton goes all in. Just all in. He goes all in for 9,300 or something, or for 8,900 into a $2,200 pot. And I decided he has a straight
you have
draw.
to fold.
He has Jack Queen
He's
or
got like
something.
ace 10.
I called. He had pocket 10s.
Oh man.
It was the sickest shove. Like today, this hand would never happen in so many ways, but yeah, it was an unreal shove by Ike there.
God, did you just puke? Did you just throw up?
I couldn't believe it.
You feel so dumb.
Of
right?
all the hands I expected to see, pocket 10s wasn't even. It didn't even cross my mind when I called with ace high there.
All right, Yokomainen's all in on this flop with a nut flush draw and not much else. Runinen also has a flush draw, but at least he's got a pair.
It's going to be very difficult.
Is Patrick in as well? This is a 3-way. It is 3-way all in.
Is it gonna be easy to count? I just want.
Who's actually winning right now? It's
Okay, 3 times.
Runanen with 4s and an ace kicker.
So it's my fault otherwise.
Everyone's got a flush draw.
Doesn't matter how it's coming.
No pair.
So there's not many hearts left to hit.
King and
Talk about blockers.
Not many hearts left in the deck, but Jokamainen has the higher cards to make a higher pair possible.
Do you guys have pair?
That's why he has the equity advantage here.
Nobody has a pair.
They all have a pair.
Well, Jokamainen does not have a pair.
Sorry.
Queen might come.
9 of hearts.
Uh-oh.
Ace 5 right now
No hearts left.
for Runanen.
That's 6 has straight. Okay, okay.
Who's got this? Oh my
Whoa,
God.
Patrick wins the
Gets
first.
there. Holy gross.
3 times.
You probably get one.
They're running it 3 times for 3
Hard.
players.
Another.
Now,
Oh.
Patrick just hit another straight.
No way.
Has to be 1 heart. No.
No, that's Patrick.
Patrick wins.
wins 2.
See, Patrick has to win all 3.
I need a 1.
Oh man. Oh man.
1 left.
That's Patrick.
Patrick hits a queen.
Patrick, you're gonna put. No, he has a
But
queen.
Jokamainen has a pair of queens
Right.
now.
Well, that's you.
That one's Yoki.
7. That's me, right?
You make runner.
Wow.
Bad day for Sampo Runanen.
What we're gonna do? We're gonna pull
Get
the money in.
2/3, and you get 2/3.
You can handle this.
We pull the money in.
Well, you scoop him.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So
How
what,
much
what's
you have?
about
Just put 56.
just
Take 5600.
Dealer. What we gonna do? We put 56.
66.
Yes. How much?
66.
66.
Oh, 66.
Okay, take 66 from him.
Right, and you get the rest.
You ever made a 7-10?
No. Have you?
No, but I've made several. I can't even remember what it's called now.
What do you like?
I've made several. What is it? 6 7s?
It's not. It's
8 7s? No, what is it? 6. Yeah, I've made several 6 7s.
6 7s.
Yeah.
500.
There was a time where like I was making.
like many cool.
I wasn't leaving that many of them. There was a time I was making like 1 out of every 5 or 6 of those.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Maybe that's too low. Maybe 1 out of 10. But like enough that it felt good every time, but wasn't like a shock anymore. Did you have a spare ball and a strike ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Rubular? Great to have you. Ambition, you too.
Biraju continuing to fire. He missed his flush draw, but he does have a pair of 10s and kind of blocks a full house here. He's continuing to bet. Jokamainen now in a tough spot with 3 7s. A lot of straights got there as well. He does let
Wow,
it down.
Holy, and he does get shown the
Biraju
bluff.
shows him the bluff.
These guys take it so well too. Like he's genuinely smiling and laughing and being shown the bluff. I'd be steaming.
Raul's playing
Blasting
great
out
today.
of my chair. Yeah. Savela agrees with you for once. Good bluff by Raul.
He's gonna be waiting for me. And
It's a very humble answer by a very accomplished
On the airport.
poker broadcaster, Joe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say very accomplished. Harrison Ford, of course. He's a humble guy. He's.
Did you see his Super Bowl commercials with the dog?
Oh yeah, those were okay. That was
Those
like
were
a
great.
bright moment in an otherwise grim
Hot shot. You're gonna have first time in your life.
commercial season.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that
So we got a set here for Yukimainen and a flush draw with top pair for Parsonen, although he's blocking himself.
I imagine we'll see Parsonen call here.
Kaela Pipili says, best cash game stream ever. Thanks, man. Again, little to do with us. And Jolinama says, Jesus, these young boys playing weak. I think that people confuse lighting money on fire for strength sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's playing weak here.
You know what? Actually, as the stream has gone on, the players at this table have kind of tightened up. When it started, it was kind of
a lot of all-ins, yeah,
and a lot of strange hands. We saw Patrick entering the pot with some very speculative hands. We saw Parsonen certainly entering the pot with some interesting hands. As the stream has gone on, it's been kind of more GTO,
right? And I think that might be sort of attributed to the amounts that everyone is either up or stuck right now.
So Parsonen misses his flush draw, but he's now blocking a straight that shouldn't really be in. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no straight on the board. I'm absolutely wrong about that. He does check over to Jokiminen. Jokiminen goes all in, and Parsonen's going to have to let it go here with just a pair of kings.
Which cup we went? Huh? 2000 what? Which cup we went? Like 2004.
I'll say yeah, get it. Hey.
4 ways to the
All right,
flop.
we got 4-way action. I do want to explain this for Quantum. Poker always has 2 cards for every player, right? Then why do I see 4 cards per player? Great question. This is a version of poker called Pot Limit Omaha. And the way Omaha works is that it's very similar to Hold'em, except you get dealt 4 cards. But unlike Hold'em, you must use 2 and only 2 cards from your hand. So you can't use the board. You can't use 4 from the board. It's 2 cards from your hand, 3 cards on board. So right now, Patrick has got a pair. If he uses the deuce, he would have a deuce with the ace kicker right now. Are the 2 cards he's using at the moment. However, he has a flush draw. So when the heart comes in, he'll be using the ace and the 5 as his 2 cards. It's 2 cards and only 2 cards. And the rest of the game works just like Hold'em. Same betting action, except for it's called pot limit, meaning you can't move all in unless the pot is around where your stack is. And it's a little bit more complicated than that when it comes to betting, but all you really need to know is it just means that you can't move in for like $1 million if there's only 50,000 in the pot.
Pretty solid explanation of Pot Limit Omaha.
And so now Patrick has all kinds of combinations of cards he might end up using here. Now that he has a straight draw. If a 3 comes in, he'll use the 4-5. If a heart comes in, he'll use the ace-5. If a deuce comes in, he'll use the ace-deuce.
I know you're not folding.
You're welcome, Quantum. And this is a fun hand because we don't really know what Mizrachi's got, but we know that we're still drawing to the nuts. So Patrick is going to call.
Yeah, Patrick correctly identifies that there's not really any fold equity here, so he's choosing to just call, and he's going to lead rivers when he hits. But he also is probably going to lead some rivers when he doesn't. I wonder if he'll lead a club as a bluff.
No club blockers in his hand. He'd most certainly lead club if he had the ace of clubs in his hand, right?
It would be more likely. I mean, he's not really repping clubs very well because he continued on the flop.
And it's not a club, it's a queen. That is
Yeah,
a total brick for Patrick.
Bad card for Patrick.
It's check fold, right?
Absolutely.
Checks, 3 checks.
Mizrachi checks behind. He's got aces.
Massive pot for Michael. Robert Mizrachi, who just limped in with the aces
And he had clubs
pre-flop.
himself. So repping a club would have been a very, very costly.
And after
Costly
winning this
decision.
pot, I believe that Robert Mizrachi is the biggest winner presently in this game. Patrick, after being up more than 50,000 euros, is now up only about 12,500.
Not
Aya is to drive. Aya is to drive.
So we need to play the off-stream game, right?
What do you beat this with him?
Online. That was like 3
You need to stop playing
From
against
my
you.
notes.
This is a legit
You need
notebook.
to stop playing against you.
I remember this hand where I tried to
This is like what middle school students used 20 years ago.
This is my comedy notebook, but it's not typically where I write my new ideas down. It's where I write my old ideas down.
That doesn't look like comedy to
Those
me.
are naked ladies. Whenever I leave my notebook and I go do stand up, girls take my notebook and draw weird stuff in it.
Really bad.
Damn it, where's a good new joke in here?
You want 6 shots? Okay.
Is there something about the notebook that inspires creativity versus if you were to write this down on your iPhone,
Yeah,
for example?
Yeah, it's a great question. My my iPhone can't keep up with me. Like, I can't get the ideas out fast enough because of autocorrect and stuff like that. It always just slows me down.
Okay.
And the other reason is this. Let's say you and I are out having a drink.
Right.
And or we're having dinner with a group of people, and I take my phone out 3 or 4 times to write something down. Everyone's like, what are you on your phone for? You're playing the phone.
Right.
Put your phone away. But if you take a notebook out, people are like, oh, he's an artist.
Oh, so
If you have a phone, you're an asshole.
right.
If you have a notebook, you're an artist.
I find myself doing that a lot where I'm having a conversation with somebody, especially this happens to me whenever I get a recommendation from somebody and I say, oh, you're from whatever, Austin, Texas. Tell me a good couple of good restaurants, and I'm not going to remember, so I take out my phone and I'm taking notes, and I always have to say, hey, I'm not being rude.
I'm just writing down the thing
I'm
you
listening
say,
to what you're saying. I'm not texting or,
You have to explain that less if you take a notebook out. Nobody questions what you're doing
Right.
if you take a notebook out. Mizrachi getting pretty lucky there. Manages to boat up. DLA says Kane is amazing at karaoke. I don't doubt it now that I've heard his background. Yokimainen makes it 1,600. Mizrachi's in. Parsinen's out. Runenen's in, despite the fact that he's got 4 spades in his hand.
I would never know who was Robert Mizrachi, man, from Miami. That's right.
Jack, 10, Jack. 3 jacks for Yokimainen.
Oh, but he checks behind, setting the trap.
And makes another full house. Is he going to bet small here? Yeah, 2,000 into 5,300. Mizrachi forced to fold his 10. And that's a straight for Runenen. How bad will the damage be?
Yeah, but I'm not telling you. I just want to.
Pretty bricky river. Runenen checks.
Tonight is Sunday.
Yokimainen.
Karaoke bar. We're gonna
Time to bring it on down to Valueville.
enjoy.
We're gonna take a table and play Chinese right next door.
And bet's nearly
that's-
pot, it looks like.
That's a pretty big bet.
9,400 bet.
Yeah.
I feel like Runenen's going to be able to get away from this one here. He doesn't block the full house at all. It's a very fishy line there. Yep, he does get away from it.
That's it, my babies. That'll do it from Tell-In. Don't forget, follow Patrick Antonius Poker Challenge on Instagram. First Land of Poker on Instagram. Follow First Land of Poker here on Twitch. King Callis, any closing words?
Absolutely. Follow Stapes on Twitter and InstaStapes on Instagram. Follow Kane Callis on every social media platform. It was a lot of fun. It was great working with you for the first time, Joe, and I hope to do it many more times in the future.